Holy shit, look at this mess. You don't even know where you're supposed to start with this.
Why do you think I always avoided going into my sister's office all this time? I knew I was only going to find additional work in there.
Though admittedly I was more thinking of actual royal documents or laws waiting to be signed. Not literal work as in cleanup duty. When did Celestia even find the time to amass such a plethora of clutter on her desk when she wasn't even here most of the time?
That's simple. Just like in any other office when no pony's around. Things come in but they don't go out. Still, I am obliged to thank you for volunteering to help me with this.
That's a nice and manipulative way to put it, Luna. It's not like I had much of a choice here. Rather than simply the realization that some pony would eventually have to deal with all of Celestia's duties that she's been neglecting over months. Honestly, it's surprising the country still functions as normally as usual.
Yes! Almost like there was a second sister in the castle who took on these duties. But being the main princess now leaves little time to clean up behind me. So it's good to have another princess around who can help out with that.
Yeah, because that's the real reason I was made a princess in Season 3, right? So I could do some secretarial work. You'd think some pony like Celestia would have someone hired to do all her work while she's occupied with her villain shenanigans.
That would, however, assume that Celestia did care even the slightest bit for her princess duties in the last year. Which I can safely say she did not. All she cared for was vengeance this and justice that.
It's not even like this is the first time I'm going through her documents. I even stumbled upon a cloning lab right here because she had simply been keeping notes of her evil plans. And judging by this year, it wasn't even a one-timer. Look, here she's contemplating kidnapping you and making you manipulate Pony's dreams.
Ah, yes. She did attempt that at one point, but things turned out differently. That was about the time she shifted her plans from those subtle conspiracies to outright becoming a supervillain.
Yes, that's what it says here. After you gave her that idea with Daybreak, she became obsessed with that thought. This sheet reads multiple different approaches of how she would get herself to transform. In the end, however, she seems to have settled for the assistance of Dr. Grass. Ah, so that's the connection she had with those OCs.
You know, when you really put into perspective everything she has done, it all just seems silly, doesn't it? Petty almost. Especially I, who have known her for centuries as the wise older sister, cannot believe that she would have gone down this insane rabbit hole. I don't hold against you or your friends what became of my sister, but still, it saddens me. There was a time when my sister meant everything to me. Way before even my jealousy, I was looking up to her. She was the perfect princess. Beautiful, kind, full of love for her subjects, devoted, and caring for every pony.
Well, such is the way things go. But I must admit, there's also been a time in my life when me and Celestia were in actually good terms. In the early seasons of our show, even outside of filming, we would always share a laugh or have a nice little talk. She seemed to genuinely like me and the way the show was taking us, with her being my mentor and me being the gifted student. It was art imitating life. But that all changed when the third season ended. And my life itself would change forever.
You're talking about the events of the series making you an actual princess of Equestria and an alicorn.
Yes. I always found it weird that what was happening in the show sometimes just had real-life consequences like it was actually happening. I guess that's what happens when you live in a world where real magic is a thing. How should I have known that me solving Starswell's spell would actually cause me to transform into a new pony race? Who could have predicted that? And that is honestly what's most tragic about this fallout with Celestia. I never wanted to become the princess of friendship. Quite honestly, it was perfectly fine being a unicorn. I mean, by now of the 6 seasons in a movie, as well as 70 sketch episodes, I just kind of learned to live with it. Still, like Adam Jensen would say, I never asked for this.
My sister, however, was never able to accept what you had become. She had a hard enough time coping with the fact that Cadence was also a princess, but that she managed with time. And with every time the show forced her to act approving of your growing importance for Equestria, her resentment grew ever stronger. The whole message friendship is magic was preaching in general was a huge thorn in her side. That 6 ordinary ponies coming from all 3 pony races, mortals at that, would become the country's new heroes. Instead of her, who she had sacrificed her own sister to save every pony.
You're being very defensive about her. I understand she was your sister, but it can't be denied that she went overboard. I mean, you were basically in the same position as her, and you managed to accept me. Or did you?
Mostly, yes. I admit it was really unexpected for me as well, but unlike my sister, I already had learned that lesson at the beginning of our series when I was freed from Nightmare Moon. Don't forget that the legend of the Mare and the Moon wasn't just invented for the show. It just so happened that my evil self broke free during the filming of the premiere. And everything else connected to that was also real. 1,000 years ago, my sister was forced to banish me, her own flesh and blood, to the moon. I still can see the tears in her eyes when she united the elements of harmony. I don't think she ever forgave herself that she allowed this tragedy to happen, and what she was forced to do.
Call me cynical, but she didn't really seem that regretful anymore. Like, ever.
Well, she did have 1,000 years' time to lock those feelings deep inside of her. It was only a matter of time before this grief would manifest. And I think it did, in the form of her grudge against you. Maybe I should have been the older sister. Then she would have been in my shadow, and it would have been her who fell to the darkness all that time ago. And today she would be where I am, redeemed and free. Instead, she is at exactly that same point I was 1,000 years ago. Still, all those years gave me plenty of time to reflect. Being dormant and trapped in my own mind as Nightmare Moon, I didn't really have anything else to do but think. It made me realize where I was wrong, understand the error of my ways. And after you banished the darkness from me, I was able to show it. Who knows, maybe time will do the same for my sister that it did for me. And should she ever return home, she might come back as a better pony.
Say, Luna, why did you speak so weirdly of your time on the moon?
What do you mean weirdly?
All that talk of being dormant and trapped in your mind, don't you know the brony lore?
The fuck are you talking about right now?
Well, according to most of the fandom, your fate was a little different. You didn't spend your time on the moon as Nightmare Moon, but as Baby Luna. And you weren't dormant or imprisoned somewhere, you were just there on the moon surface doing all kinds of cute little moon shenanigans.
What? Are you fucking serious right now? You have got to be kidding me. Let me guess, surely I also met Neil Armstrong when he landed there, right?
Sure.
My fucking hell! Did really nobody pay attention in the first episode? It said in the moon. And when I returned, I still was Nightmare Moon. Why else would the moon have had craters in the shape of my face, you fucking idiots? Sorry, I just lost my cool. Seriously, that really offended me. To just drag my tragic fall into darkness and despair down to some kitschy space jokes.
Well, that's how they are, the bronies. To be fair though, how should they have known that this wasn't just part of that kids show story?
Perhaps, but it is still most insulting.
While we're at the topic of dumb fan imputations, does that mean Gamer Luna is also not real?
Gamer Luna? What the fuck is that even supposed to mean? I am a princess of Equestria. Do you seriously think I would have time to waste with video games?
Well, I don't know. I seem to have all the time in the world to waste on robotic sketches.
Sure, but that's because that is your main duty right now. I, for one, have a lot of other responsibilities. Even more of them now that my sister is gone.
Okay, was just wondering. Alright, how about we drop this hot topic and get on with our work here?
Why did you even have to mention that shit at all? I was perfectly fine not knowing that.
Well, honestly, to steer this episode away from that heavy talk we had earlier. That was really bordering on getting seriously emotional. All that heartfelt talk made me want to puke. I mean, we're a comedy. This is supposed to be funny, not emotionally grasping.
And so you thought it would make it funnier to trigger me with that insulting topic about my time on the moon?
Yeah. I, for one, did find it funny.
I'm sure you did.
Now, let's get on with this. We're supposed to find another note that moves the sketch forward. Ah, and here it is. Wow, now this is a relic. This one's talking about Zecora.
Zecora? Oh right, there was this one throwaway gag in the very start of this series. My sister wanted to replace you as the Princess of Friendship with Zecora. But for some reason she decided against it and sent it to the moon.
Huh, I see. I was always wondering what had become of her. Well, not really. Actually, I had completely forgotten about her existence up until now, but still, where is she now?
I would suppose she's still on the moon.
She what? And you never thought to yourself, maybe I should bring back that zebra my sister unjustly sent up there.
Hey, you're acting as if I had not so entirely forgotten about her. I just figured that my sister would have brought her back at some point. Though looking back on last year, I can definitely see why she didn't really have the time to do that.
Great, so all this fucking time there's just a lonely, desperate zebra been trapped on the moon. I'm sure that'll do wondrous things to this government's reputation.
Of course, only if that were to ever come out. We could always just leave things as they are.
Holy shit, I think I just skipped a heartbeat. Did you seriously suggest that we just leave Zecora stranded on the moon forever?
Don't act like that wouldn't be the best and simplest solution. Since when have you grown a conscience?
This doesn't even need to have anything to do with conscience, it's just simple storytelling logic. Why the hell would we even bring Zecora up in the first place if she was just gonna stay where she is?
To make a cheap callback and never mention it again afterwards?
Alright, fair point. Still, I feel obliged to undo this injustice. Call it a fit of chronic heroism.
By all means, don't let me stop you, Twilight.
Okay, here we go.
What is this? Can it be real? Is it really Equestria's Earth I feel?
Hello, Zecora. Welcome back.
Twilight Sparkle, is it true what I see? Please explain. What the fuck even happened to me?
Well, a certain princess thought it wouldn't be wrong to just banish you to the moon when she didn't have any more use for you in her ridiculous schemes. Sorry, by the way, if we had known about where you were, we would have brought you back much sooner. But to be honest, Celestia has kept us quite occupied with other things.
Ah yes, Celestia, that racist bitch. Tell me, the fate that she found is which?
Man, I really didn't miss these exhausting and manufactured phrases you always have to use in order to make it rhyme. You get a headache just listening to it.
Yes, now imagine having to think of all that stuff. I can tell you, I have already again had enough. One thing that was good about my time on the moon, I didn't need to be such a rhyming buffoon.
Coming back to your question about Celestia, don't worry about her. She's found a most fitting fate for all her evil deeds. She was banished in the sun.
I see, quite ironic, and rightfully so. That maniac princess had reached a new low.
You don't even know half of it, Zecora.
And what about you, Princess Luna? What is your stance? Are you on your sister's side, or do you actually make sense?
I tried to stay out of her schemes for the most part, and while I am saddened by the fate she met, I can't deny that she deserved it.
Good. Then now everything is as it should be. Except for one thing, maybe, and that one thing is me.
What do you mean by that?
I am happy to be back here, and I am grateful to you. But despite all of that, I feel like I'm missing a clue. Why are you still here, Twilight, and the way that you are? You're an alicorn still, and a princess too. Bizarre.
What are you talking about, Zecora?
Well, frankly speaking, I'm talking about your crown. It is high time for Princess Twilight to step down.
What?
Way before I was sent innocently to space, I was given a title, which is still the case. 2 princesses of friendship is one too many, you see? So I would ask you to do the right thing, and leave it to me.
Well, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you seriously referring to that one joke in the second sketch where Celestia said she was gonna replace me with you? But that was just what it was, a joke. She never meant that seriously.
Serious or not, the right was invoked. She gave me the title, and my heart felt so stoked. The first zebra to ever become a princess of this nation. I will come into power, no matter how or when.
You can't be serious. I'm the princess of friendship.
I feel like I must intervene here and say that while you might have some right to your claims, Zecora, that title was given to you by my sister, who, as we all know, was not really the most sensible pony most of the time. The rank of princess is either something you are born with or you must achieve it, but no pony is simply given it by the grace of an alicorn. Twilight earned this title by completing her studies.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, nation doesn't even rhyme with when.
What? Yes, it does. What the hell? What does rhyme and what not? Who are you to tell?
A pony with ears, 'cause that's all there need to be to hear that nation and when don't sound similar at all.
You just have to want it to rhyme. That is something you would learn with time. Pronunciation is important, almost more than the word. In the end, rhymes are based on intuition, you turd. Allow me to show you my close-minded friend. Mei Shen Wen. This discussion is at an end.
Wow, yeah, I can also make two totally different words sound similar if I pronounce them like I have some sort of mental impairment. You can't go around saying words like a sweet or something and expecting ponies to just accept that as rhyming. Shout out to Teal, by the way, whose name isn't Sven.
You illiterate pony, you just don't have a clue. When I say it's a rhyme, then fucking hell it is true.
Ah, now that is a really good argument, just saying a rhyme without giving a proper response.
I spend all my life rhyming every sentence I say, and I will not take getting disrespected this way. I was brought up in my hometown to rhyme every word from the start, so I think my experience would outweigh you by a lot.
Well, I find it hard to believe that you really went on all your life rhyming if that is the kind of shit you're okay with. And now you did it again. You just pronounced lot like you were having a stroke just to make it fit the word start. This is just fucking ridiculous.
You're a fool, Twilight Sparkle. It is futile to fight. Now I'm the princess of friendship, and at that by right. I don't care that Celestia just decided that to spite you. To me, her words are true, and I'm ready to fight you.
Oh, so that's as you want us to go down? Well, guess what? So am I. And I don't just mean verbally. If I have to, I'm gonna blast your ass.
Hey, don't you think you're getting a little too heated there?
Shut up, Luna. Who even asked you?
That's right, Moon Princess. We really don't need you.
Fine. I'm out of here.
Hey, you didn't rhyme.
I did, stupid pony. By extension, I did. I used your words at the start. You better believe it.
No, you're not talking about what I said to Luna. How did you ever get anything done rhyming like this? You can't rhyme a word with itself. You and you are not rhymes.
Well, that sounds like it could go on for hours.